Hey guys, John Hopper here. I'm on episode number 2 of the Ask John show. So, had someone reach out to me and they had a question, and I think it's a very good question, and I wanted to do my best to answer it. So, I'm going to bring 25 years of business experience to the table here and answer this question. So, I want to read you the question so that you know what I know in how I'm answering the question. So, here's what it says. I could use some advice. A few months ago, I left a company I was with for a few years. I'm looking to start something I can call my own, but with a mix of experience and knowledge I have attained. I don't know where to begin. My passion is to bring others up with me as I excel, but I haven't figured out how to make that my own lucrative career. Okay, so I don't have a lot of information, but I do have some. All right. So at the very end of it, she said lucrative career. I truly wish she would not have said that because I would answer it a little bit differently. I wish she would have said my own successful career. And here's maybe this will plant a seed in her head or your head or whatever. Okay. But I personally do not define success with money. It does not intermingle. If you look at a lot of successful people, they spent the vast majority of their life broke. They were not wealthy. Wealth and success are not in the same sentence. And I can point to a lot of people. Go do research. Look at the history of the stock price of Apple. Horrible. Single digit numbers. One, two, three, four, $5. Okay, I'm talking really low numbers. Steve Jobs spent the majority of his career broke. Walt Disney, same thing. Um, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, right? I mean, all of these people. Look at um, Mark Zuckerberg, right? Decade, at least over a decade, broke, right? So and to me, it's not the same thing. You can be successful at what you're doing and not be wealthy. I point to the Pope. He's not wealthy. He's pretty successful. A lot of people like him, right? I mean, there's a lot of people in your world, in your sphere, who do not have the money that you think they have that we would still define as successful. So what and she did say something else that was really, really important is she said that bringing others up with me as I excel. If it were me, I would start there. So what she's trying to do is she's trying to say, okay, if I'm successful, then it would be a passion of mine to help somebody else along the way. I think I could do that. Like if my business grows, my business becomes really successful, then I can be generous and I can help other people become successful too. That's clearly a possibility. But why can't you start there? Why can't you start by helping somebody else become successful now? Right? And then by you helping somebody else become successful, then by virtue of you doing that, then you become successful. So you're really going right to the source of what the passion is, which is to help other people. What she's really looking for is she's looking for what kind of a project should I work on that I could be really successful at? And then when I'm really successful at that, then I can bring other people up with me. And what I contend is, well, why don't we just bring people up with you now? Right? Like why do we have to wait? Let's go find somebody who has a problem, right? Or needs help. And it doesn't have to be somebody that has money, right? So we don't need to have somebody that has money in order to be successful, right? Now we do have to have money if we're going to define success with a monetary amount. But I contend there's just too many people in history that didn't have money that it's unnecessary to do that. I do not believe the two intermix. Lots of successful people spent lots of time without any money. So I think that should be considered. So now she has to figure out what does she want to do, right? So here's what I contend, and I hope you can see this in the camera, but you need this. You know what this is? It's a piece of paper. That's it. This is not an expensive investment. And you need a pen, piece of paper, and a pen. And then what you need to do is you need to write and you need to think. And you need to go, okay, what can I do? And you look into the wheelhouse of the resources that you have. I call it the toolbox. You look into the toolbox and you go, okay, what tools do I have available that I can do something with? Right? You don't want to start with, well, let's go, launch a rocket, right? You know what I mean? We don't have that's not a tool in the toolbox, right? So what do we have, right? So communication, right? I'm a good communicator. Maybe I can do that, right? I'm good at sales, so I could bring that into the wheelhouse, right? I'm friendly, I'm generous, I'm healthy, I'm popular, right? Whatever tool you have in the toolbox, right? We want to write down what resources we have, right? That's a resource. Family members are resources, friends are resources, business owners are resources, right? Whatever resource we have, right? And then we want to assess what tools do we have in the toolbox, right? Before we do anything, we want to find out, what do we have? What are we working with here, right? I mean, I look at it this way, you're not going to take a transmission shop, most transmission shops are not going to build a custom motorcycle. They don't have the resources to do that. They don't even have a motorcycle lift in there to do it, right? They might not have, a CNC machine to grind out the wheels, or, a welder to fix to make the custom gas tank, right? You got to look at what you have for resources, right? What do I have for resources? And then you start taking those resources and you go, okay, what can I do with this? And you'll find you're missing some resources, right? And then what people say is, when you're missing resources, then what you need to be is resourceful, right? How can I get them? Who can I bring on? Who can I involve in this? What else can I do? How can I get to where I need to be, right? And then a plan starts coming together on a piece of paper with a pen, right? Now, in there, a lot of things might happen, right? You might go, well, I need money, right? That's one of the resources I don't have. Where can I get it from, right? Maybe I need to take on a temporary job right now to bring in some cash to get that money to get to where I need to be, right? Maybe I need to sell something. Maybe I need to, sell a vehicle, or, an asset, or, whatever I have to have, right? You have to become resourceful to fill in, what you're missing. So now, when you have all of the resources that you have available, and you start thinking about what it is that, what I really want to do. Now, let me explain to you my belief on doing what you're passionate about. There's a reason people tell you this, okay? And I believe this to be true. The reason they tell you to be passionate about it is because it's going to be hard to do. If you're not passionate about it, you're going to quit. As soon as it becomes hard, you're going to stop. You're like, I'm not doing this anymore. It's too hard. But if you're passionate about it and you love doing it, you'll do it even if it's hard, right? So doing something that you're passionate about does matter, right? I mean, I'll go back and I'll point to Elon Musk again. His career has been incredibly hard, very hard. I mean, and I'm not, a historian or anything, but he did not start Tesla Motors. He was an investor in Tesla. The CEO, the guy who actually started, I think there was two of them, they left. And in order to retain his investment in the company, he stepped in as the CEO, right? If he wasn't passionate about that project, that whole thing would have failed right then and there. As soon as the CEOs, I think it was 2007, they walked away. They're like, we're done with this thing. We're not doing it anymore. If you want it, you can take over, whatever. And, again, I'm not, I'm doing a live video here. I didn't go do research on this, but this is what I know of the story. He was the investor. He was the guy that gave him the money in like 2004 or something like that. And they wrote it out for 2005, 2006, 2007. These guys left. Like, we're done. We're not doing this anymore. He's like, oh, okay, well, I got like $40 million wrapped up here. We got to keep going, right? We can't quit. He was passionate about the project. And then all kinds of problems happened to him, right? 2008 meltdown happened to him, late production with their um, models coming out. There was a lot of problems there, right? Cash flow, he complains about cash flow regularly, right? Again, he's passionate about the project, okay? And I think that's an important thing. So you take all of the resources you have, find out what you're passionate about. How can you intermix the two together, right? Now, when you do all of this, you know what you have? An idea. That's it. You don't have anything yet. You've taken all the resources that you have. You found out what resources you're missing. You found out what you might be passionate about, what you might be willing to do, even if it doesn't pay money, right? If it's free, we're doing it for free. Mark Zuckerberg was passionate about Facebook because that thing did not produce any money for a long time. He was broke, didn't have any revenue, right? So he was passionate about it. So then what you do is you find out what your resources are, you find out what you're passionate about, and then you got to find out, can we make money with this? Right? You might have to do that exercise many times over to be able to come up with the answer of what you can do to eat. Because at the end of the day, we need to take this idea, we need to capitalize on it and go buy groceries with it. We cannot work for free forever. At some point, we got to get cash. We're going to have to get, clothes. We got to pay rent. We got to pay utilities. You got, car insurance. You got to make money somewhere along the way. This thing is going to have to produce cash. If it doesn't produce cash, it's got a lot of problems, right? You're not going to be able to hire people. It doesn't have to produce a lot of cash, but it's got to produce enough to at least pay the basic bills. So this is an exercise you might have to go over and over and over again. Here's the tools and resources I have available. Here's the ones that I would need to get in order to keep going. And here's what I'm passionate about. This is something I think I could do. How do I marry the two together? And it has to make money. If it doesn't make money, this is a hobby, right? This isn't going to be a clear, definitive goal on, how we're going to make money. Then what you need to do is, I believe the next step is you got to get legitimate. You got to make it a business. So the least expensive way I know of doing this is LegalZoom. You go to LegalZoom, it's LegalZoom.com, and you set up an LLC. You got to get an LLC set up. Now, that LLC does not need to be the company you're operating as. So you could do the LLC in your name. You could do it in the name of your dog. You could do it in the name of whatever you wanted to call it, right? And then when you decide what you want to do, you do a doing business as, a DBA as that company, right? So you could do business as whatever you want, whenever you figure it out. But setting up that LegalZoom is going to allow you to set up a bank account. And when you get the LegalZoom set up and then you go set up a bank account, now you can start receiving money. And I think that's a critically important thing to do. So obviously I could go on and on and on and on and on about this, but I think if you're looking to do something, that's what I would do. If you want to start a business, when somebody talks to you and they're telling you, oh, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, you should do that, I would encourage you to ask yourself, does this benefit me or does this benefit them? Because a lot of times when you're talking to somebody and they're telling you, you should do this, or you should do that, you should do this, it's because they're going to benefit out of it. And what you're really hearing is a sales pitch. And the problem there is, you're going to be the one stuck with it at the end of the day, and you're going to have to make it work. And I would be very cautious on listening to that type of a sales pitch when you're starting your own business. So I hope this helps in some way. That's what I would do. There was too much information missing to say specifically what business. I mean, you said that you wanted to use experience and knowledge that you had attained, but you didn't tell me what that is. So if I were you, I would do the exercise that I just said, and I hope this helps in some way. And I have a lot more questions, but if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and, ask me a question, and I'll do a little video here and, explain to people, what I would do, right? And it's free, it doesn't cost any money. And hopefully, it might not help you, it might help somebody else, it might help you, whatever, right? So it doesn't cost anything. And I think it's a good thing. Reach out to me if you have any questions, and I'd love to answer them. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.